Alright, how are we doing, everyone? Today I am joined here by Leo Rydel from the Geekly Goods. Is it Geekly Gods? I always mix that up.
Geekly Goods, man.
Geekly
Yeah, appreciate
Goods!
the invite.
Yeah, I'm joined by Leo from Geekly Goods. It's our first collaboration together. We talked a little bit when we did the collaboration over on, Larry's channel for Godzilla vs. Kong. Very heated, very fun discussion. I'm still getting over the, having my stomach pumped after that as well. I learned that day that Vegemite and whiskey is a bad mix.
Oh, it didn't look like a good mix, man. Oh my goodness, Vegemite is.
I had to go I had to represent Australia.
I hear it, bro. I hear it.
But thank you so much for joining me, man. We're here to talk about Saw 6.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. This was a better installment in the series because we were talking a little bit before this. After 2, I get a little discombobulated. I start kind of just like mixing them all together, which one is which. And then when I booted this one up, I was like, oh, this is the health insurance one. This is actually really good.
It actually had something to separate it because like Saw 3, 4, and 5 took place like during the same events of each other. Like Saw 3 and 4 took place at the exact same time, and then Saw 5 was minutes after the events of Saw 4 and 3, and I'm like, wait, this feels very discombobulated and way too close together. But Saw 6 actually feels like there is a decent amount of time from the 5th movie that it has actually gone by.
Yeah, minutes? Nah, man. Like, give me some more time between these movies, because that's why I get confused with 3, 4, and 5, especially 3 and 4 happening at the same time. Like, wait.
Like, the only thing that you can really separate them from is the traps.
Yeah. That's really it.
Oh, and also slow-ass motherfucking Jeff from the 3rd movie, who walks so slow and just takes his sweet-ass time with everything. There's a reason that's the only 2-hour Saw film.
It's all him taking his sweet time.
It's all because of him just walking and taking his time and whining and just hurry up, man. But one thing I will say about 2, 3, and 4 is that it is competently directed from Darren Lynn Bousman, who's our director of the new one, coming out in just a couple of weeks, Spiral.
Oh, that's great. And the guy that directed this edited most of the Saw movies, didn't he?
Greutert, Kevin Greutert, yeah, he edited most of them.
I think he edited 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 6.
And then the guy who directed 5 was one of the production designers, I'm pretty sure, of all the Saw movies, or one of the co-writers or something. And he hasn't directed a movie since. There's a reason for that. Saw 5 is kind of a mess.
Really bad.
It's really bad. It's easily the most boring out of the Saw movies.
Yeah.
And the most annoying.
He knows his place.
But no, Saw 6 is directed by Kevin Greutert, who you just mentioned helped edit a lot of the Saw movies, and it features Costas Mandylor, Betsy Russell. It also features what's his name? Peter Outerbridge, who played William Easton, the guy who's the head of the company. And, obviously Tobin Bell, who's John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, still the best part out of all of these movies.
Yep.
I will say, he does deliver one really funny line where he's giving, like, that big speech to William Easton, then all of a sudden he looks at the tank and he's like, piranha.
Right? It's like, wait, what?
What are you talking about? Like, I actually had to pause it and rewind it because I just thought it was hysterical, that line delivery.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was feeling where he was going with the speech, and I was like, oh, thanks for that.
But did you want to take it away with the plot of the movie, or what the general synopsis is?
Yeah, sure. Here, I'll pull it up on IMDb since that's got a nice rundown of what it is. Agent Strom is dead, and FBI agent Erickson draws nearer to Hoffman. Meanwhile, a pair of insurance executives find themselves in another game set by Jigsaw, and what's so cool about this one is the different traps mirror those policies that they were using to turn clients away. And so they were being like super scummy and turning them away with all these different like small little isms that they would use to just turn people away. And one of the like big people who's turned away, his family is actually a part of the game. And we see later on in the movie that is a huge consequence for the owner of the firm who is going through, and every single game is like based on those horrible policies. And let's just say he ends up
Looking like a
really
tube
getting
of
a taste of
toothpaste.
his own medicine.
He looks like an unrolled tube of toothpaste after a while.
Yeah, and they're like in a zoo. So this one is right.
Yeah.
It takes place in like a zoo.
In like a
this
zoo
one, and they're
sort
all
of
like
facility.
a cage setting. It was pretty.
Because
I
it was like
the
the
setting.
reptile, what is it, enclosure.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it in the trap with the two people with the barbed wire around their throats? Really cool traps in this movie. Do we want to touch on the traps first?
Yeah. The traps were really awesome, especially we were talking before this. Like the final trap was just crazy.
Yeah.
This nail bed that comes down and like hits the guy in the back, injects some poison into his back. Really crazy.
Yeah, hydrofluoric acid.
Yeah, and that acid like melted him too.
It fucked him up real bad. Honestly, even though he's a scumbag, it actually felt like he was learning his lesson throughout the traps. He was actually starting to like appreciate life and understand what Jigsaw was saying all along, and he actually was like fighting with that human will to live. And I'm like, this is awesome. I like that we've actually got a character for the first time since Saw 2 that actually appreciates what Jigsaw is doing and actually abiding by his rules and morals. Like there's the moment where he's like, nah, fuck this, and tries to walk away, but then the collars on his wrist start to beep, and then he walks back, and he's actually playing by the rules now, and is actually starting to understand how fucked up his policy was.
Yeah, and I like the continuous countdown. I mean, that's always a great element of the films. Get that clock ticking down. Really, really cool. And man, I think the worst trap might have been when he had to choose between one filing assistant who was like a younger guy, really didn't have a lot of family, and then the lady who had like I think she was a secretary. He had a full-on family,
even though
she
she was
middle-aged,
middle-aged,
remembered.
hereditary
Yeah,
genes of what is it, diabetes.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is you making him choose between these two,
but
and
using
then pulling
his fucking rules from his policy, like those who have bigger families but have less, health and everything, like worse health, they will usually be cut off, but someone with less family but have a better health condition will be accepted. I love these little pieces thrown into every game, using his company policies to the game to make him realize what he has been doing wrong and how broken and how much of a villain he actually is.
Yeah, and it was funny because in the beginning of the game, he's like trying his absolute hardest. I'm going to save them both. There's no way I'm going to let him go. But you did the opposite of your policy and let go the one that he actually would in his insurance firm accept. So it just goes to show, like, when you get down to the actual nitty gritty of damn near dying, you might save the family as opposed to just the regular healthy person. But he should have been considering both of them fairly all along anyway.
That's exactly right. And that's how medical companies and policies should be. And for what I know, have always been.
Yeah, I mean, they should always be fair. Like, you shouldn't just turn people away because they have some kind of terminal illness. Like, that's incredibly shady.
And, like, there was a good line in the movie from John Kramer during one of the flashbacks where it's like, it's not the government, it's not the politicians, it's not the doctors, it's the goddamn health insurance companies. And I'm like, wow, okay. That's a really good line. And it's speaking facts.
Yeah, the healthcare system is completely messed up, especially here in the U.S. I mean, it's a catastrophe. It's all for money. It's all scammed. It's really not good. So I like the theme of this one just because it really explores that and explores all these
sort of has like a political commentary at the same time in regards to the US, because in Australia we can't compare because we have free healthcare here, whereas in America you do have to pay, and a lot of the time people are rejected.
Yeah, and it's generally a very high premium. There's a big rejection rate. So I love that this is like that theme of these companies need to make these things easier, preferably free.
Yeah.
And not a ton of hoops to jump through just to get healthcare. Like,
that's exactly right. What is it? One trap that people don't normally talk about, and that's the the respirator trap, the one with like the masks on their face and like the clamps on their rib cage. What I love is that it plays towards the policy of you being healthier and your advantages. You have just sentenced this man who's a smoker to death because you didn't accept it. It's the same thing in regards to that by Jigsaw putting that guy in a trap, knowing he's most likely going to die.
Yeah, isn't that when they breathed and then it like crushed in?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
That trap always
insane.
gives me a bit of anxiety because it's just like, that's the most uncomfortable thing, being on your ribs. But also the fact, the trap at the same time has, like, the sequence has no music. Has none of that obnoxious editing that we know from the Saw movies. It is just lived in the moment, and like whenever they take a breath, it's just the sound of the clamps moving in and crushing their ribs, and it feels so lived in, and you're just like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah, man. I mean, God, just the closing in was crazy. And there's another trap that I believe was like a flashback where the wall was like crushing him in. And
Saw
I was
5.
like, so very much reminded me of that. See, it's like 3, 4, and 5. I cannot remember which one, man. It's like, it's one of those three, but yeah, it was very reminiscent of that, crushing him, closing him in just like that. But even more organic, because damn, you can't even breathe.
Yeah.
Like, just you can't even breathe. That guy could try to push, try to move. You can't even breathe, my guy. It's gonna crush your lungs in.
That actually is my favorite scene in Saw 5, though, the whole walls closing in trap. Fun fact, the only movie in history to have a walls closing in actually have the full effect. Star Wars in 1977 introduced it with the trash compactor, but Saw 5 is the only film to ever go through with it.
Really?
Yeah, and all its gory fashion. I love looking at behind the scenes stuff of these Saw movies and how they do the traps. And the set that they actually built, the closing in wall thing, was not working. They actually had to have people behind pushing the walls in manually rather than what they were doing, because of the whole, like, we don't know if it will malfunction or whatever, and actually hurt our actor. And they actually built a prosthetic for his arm, so when the bone popped out, that it was actually like this little latex thing that when the sort of silicone prosthetic moved and did that, the bone would pop out of this little slit that was in the prosthetic. And I'm like, that is so awesome.
Dang, man, these are such good practical effects, bro.
The practicals are one thing I can always give the Saw movies. The practicals are incredible.
Yeah, this is stuff that horror and modern films just don't do anymore. That's all a CGI, but it's like, damn, these guys pushed the wall.
Which was one of the biggest issues with Jigsaw, because a lot of the blood in that movie was CGI, like the big, what is it, the
Blender blade, like
that was all CGI blood, and I'm like, this looks awful. Whereas the first 7 Saw movies were all practical effects, except for Saw 4, which did have some CG blood in it, which looked really bad. But majority of the time, it's all practical effects and looks great.
Yeah, man. I mean, it just always comes out better, in my opinion, when it's a practical horror film. There's something about it, man, that just has that classic good feel to it. Like,
it also makes it more horrifying.
Yeah.
Because it does feel real for that reason.
Which, gosh, the traps in this one, ooh-wee. The one where the people were sat down and there was like a fully loaded, like, damn near shotgun.
Oh, yeah, the carousel.
Yeah, like, what a crazy trap. It's like people were just going around taking turns getting popped. Like, what the hell?
I do like to think, though, in the background, there's like a wooden fucking, pole that he could have used to, like, slip through one of the little holes in the fence and take off the chain of, like, the bicycle wheels so it wouldn't have worked.
There were a couple opportunities he had in this movie where it was like, come on, my guy. Like,
well, there was an electrical, on that trap where he had the 2 little handles and he had the hole before, like, one of them got hung by the barbed wire. There was like a wire, like an electrical wire he could have tied towards the fucking handles, so neither of them would have died anyway, and it wouldn't have advanced.
He just was, it was so much pressure at the time. He's like, I gotta let one go. Like,
and the boiler room trap, when she grabbed the buzzsaw, just cut the straps! Cut the straps!
That scared the shit out of me. I'm not even like when she just charges at him with the saw.
That's
and
he's
got the key embedded. I'm like, oh my god, that's been used quite a few times, hasn't it? The key in like a person.
Saw 2 with the one behind the eye.
Yeah, and there's a few other ones.
Saw 4 had a really good one with the mausoleum trap, where the 2 guys, it was like a hear no evil, see no evil. One had their mouth sewn shut, one with their eyes sewn shut. But the key was on like the back of the collar and they can't fucking communicate. That's terrifying. That's fucking terrifying.
Oh god, yeah, the imagery.
Oh yeah. What's another one? Saw 5 had a big thing in regards to keys with the opening trap where like the 5 people and it's like the big blades behind them. After 60 seconds it pulls you back and decapitates you. Okay, that was my chair screeching. Oh my god. I thought someone was yelling at me. But, no, they have done a really big thing in regards to the keys in the Saw movies. What is it? Oh yeah, another one. In the original Saw movie, the reverse bear trap, where Amanda Young had to cut the key out of her dead cellmate's stomach. Wasn't really dead, he was just sedated.
Yeah, he was dead after that.
Oh yeah, definitely, because she had to pull out his stomach, and I'm like, I look at that trap, even though I love that trap, I look at that trap and I'm like, hang on, dead or not, the stomach acid, wouldn't that burn your hands? Because the reason why when we throw up, the stomach acid doesn't like burn our esophagus and everything is due to the mucus that sort of like blends it and shields our internal organs.
It should have just like, like fucked her up.
It should have fucked up her hands when she was reaching for the key. Same thing with Saw 7, where the key is stuck inside the stomach with the hook and he's ripping it out of her mouth. That's a fucked up trap.
Oh god, the traps just that's what you come to the Saw franchise for.
And the twists. Yep. I will say this movie had a very weak twist though. I love the twist in the Saw movie. I could not tell you what the twist is in this movie.
Yeah, cuz wasn't the guy who was Jigsaw's like trainee, wasn't he him in like 4 and like didn't we figure that out before?
4 it was at the end of Saw 4 that we realize that the opening scene of Saw 4 takes place after the events of the ending of Saw 4, where he finds the tape inside Jigsaw's stomach.
Yeah, and, so he was already like a part of Jigsaw's plan and everything, because the girl in 2 was also part of that cahoots as well.
I loved that though. And then Amanda, like, you realize, oh my god, she's working for Jigsaw. She wasn't even meant to be in a trap. She was just meant to help Daniel, but was thrown into the needle pit because Xavier's a dick.
Yep. Like, what?
Shawnee Smith is such a talented actress. I wish she got more big roles. Like, she went from the Saw movies to then go and star in The Grudge 3.
Eesh.
Yeah. And then she gets killed in such a hilarious fashion. I remember watching that last year before the new Grudge movie came out. May that movie rest in peace. But, let's talk about something in regards to Saw 6. This is the first Saw movie that did not earn over $100 million at the box office. And there are a couple reasons for that. First of all, this is the same year that Paranormal Activity came out in theaters.
That makes sense.
I've got some figures here that I wrote down. While Saw 6 only had a 77-day run in theaters, Paranormal Activity had 119 days in theaters from September 25th. It went all the way through from September 25th into the new year of 2010.
Damn. Wait, so this was the first Paranormal Activity that came out? Oh, okay, so, yeah.
And people were looking for something new. And then after Paranormal Activity came out, they released a Paranormal Activity movie every year on Halloween. And that's why Saw 3D was the final chapter, because they realized they could not compete anymore. And then Ghost Dimension came out in 2015, and then all of a sudden, new word from Lionsgate, we've got another Saw movie coming out. They were just waiting for that franchise to die. And here we are, a new Paranormal Activity movie is apparently in the works, like a reboot.
Come on now, aren't they on like 8 of those?
6.
It's tired.
6. You've got
it's
1 through 4,
6.
and then the marked ones, and then the Ghost Dimension. But hey, we've got Saw 10 already in early development, and we've also got, a Saw TV series just being announced. Which could be interesting,
they're following
honestly.
Up the Chucky.
Yeah. That seems to be the most popular thing these days. Have a big popular franchise become a TV series now. And time
you don't
traveling.
go for the story. Fuck that.
No. And like, that's the thing. I can ignore the fact with Saw 6 that Betsy Russell is a terrible actress. Her as Jill Tuck, oh my god, her line delivery is appalling.
It's so bad.
And when I heard that she only got the role because she was engaged to Mark Berg, like one of the, producers or something at fucking Lionsgate or Twisted Pictures, I'm like, oh, okay. So this is how you got the role. And it never fucking paid off until I saw you die and saw the final chapter.
Was that her first appearance in the franchise? 6?
No, 4.
Or was... Okay, a couple movies before.
No, it was technically 3, because there was a moment where Jigsaw was having the tumor cut out of his head, and then it goes to a flashback of, like, Jigsaw's wife and everything. He's hallucinating.
Oh, yeah,
and then it's just like, wait, who the fuck are you? And initially Saw 3 was meant to be the end, so it was going to be, like, an open-ended series, and then Saw 4 came out, and then Betsy Russell was brought in with, like, the whole, Peter Strahm interrogating her and everything in Saw 4, and then she had a very small role in Saw 5, where the box that John Kramer left in his will to her. I hate what Saw 5 did, where it's just like, I leave this box to you in my will, you look at it, and it's this soap opera shit where you don't see what's in the box until Saw 6.
give you that fucking cut to black style. Like, nope, we're gonna just not even show you.
No, this was like in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
You gotta be joking. Jesus.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And all along it's 6 envelopes, pictures and shit. Like,
well, 5 for him, and the 6th one was for me. This is John's will. And I'm like, fuck off. You need to deliver these lines. These aren't even bad lines. It's just your delivery is terrible.
So bad.
It's nothing against her. She seems like a lovely woman. I've seen interviews with her for the Saw movies. She's just not a good actress, man.
No way. What was the twist in this one? Because, I mean, the twist isn't Hoffman, right? It's not him.
I think it might be that Jill Tuck had the envelope and like John's will was for like him to finally be tested. It's either that or William Easton. This entire thing was never his game.
Yeah.
So it kind of has 2 twists in one movie, but they're not really payoffy twists. But I gotta say, Hoffman, kudos to the man for breaking his own hand and cutting open his mouth. Oh my god, that's when he turns into a full-on serial killer.
Oh my god, when he's just like screaming and then part of his skin is like dangling down, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Like, oh my, that's a cool practical effect. Like, seeing the fact that they, like, make up, like, the black and red on his face to make it look like an open wound, and then seeing, like, the latex and prosthetic hanging down from his cheek and everything. I'm like, that is some impressive makeup work that should have been nominated for an Oscar.
Damn right. That shit was amazing.
Like, that's one thing. When it comes to makeup and stuff with the Academy Awards, I've always thought that horror movies should be nominated for even the gore effects and everything, considering that it takes some incredible makeup and prosthetics for a lot of the stuff that they do with, like, cuts and wounds and slashes, and even stuff such as, like, dismemberments and everything. That is some incredible stuff.
Horror always gets snubbed at Oscars. Like, they just...
Hereditary in particular. Toni Collette.
Yeah. Oh my god. Toni Collette deserved that so bad.
And Alex Wolff as well for supporting actor. Like, they both should have been fucking nominated. And Ari Aster as director should have definitely been fucking nominated. Like, come on. When it comes to the statistics in regards to Saw 6, Saw 6, as we know, got 77 days in theaters, and Paranormal Activity, 119. 193 million at the box office Paranormal Activity got, whereas Saw 6 only got, 68 million.
Oof. Yeah,
and Saw 6 never made it to number 1 at the box office, whereas Paranormal Activity stood there for a week. During the week that Saw came out, by the way. The week that Saw came out was leading up to Halloween, and Paranormal Activity was number 1 for 7 days. Saw 6, unlike every other entry in the Saw series, never made it to number 1 at the box office. And I think it might also be the fact that Saw the movie, the video game, came out 2 weeks before this movie's release. And it flopped critically, and just everything about that game was wrong. It didn't get the sales, it was panned at E3 that year, and no one liked it. Therefore, the hype train for the new Saw movie, everyone immediately went, oh, this is probably going to be crap. Because James Wan and Lee Winnell, who were executive producers on the Saw movies, all of them, they were a part of the writing process for Saw the movie, the video game. They are listed. And it turned out to be a flop. And everyone's like, nah, this new Saw movie is probably going to be crap, plus Paranormal Activity's out, we're going to go see that instead.
Oh, no.
Which is unfortunate, because Saw 6 is, in my opinion, the most underrated Saw movie. And overlooked.
Yeah, this was pretty fun. Like, in comparison to the last few, it was different.
I enjoyed it a lot, and I think that might be the fact that because each trap adds towards something in regards to William Easton's policy, like the first trap in regards to, like, you're sentencing them to death, the second one in regards to healthier with no family to not as healthy with family. Then the next trap with the woman who, it shows them what they will do to survive, the human will to survive and to live when they are faced with death, as John Kramer had been saying to William Easton, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the flashbacks. He warned him.
Yeah.
At the party, and 2 times in the same conversation in his, his office. Like, all the signs are there. Just listen.
It was literally a red flag. Like, it was like, bro, he is telling you right now what's about to happen.
But the thing is that was a big strength for Saw 6 is the writing and the dialogue isn't even that bad.
It's really not. The acting and line delivery is pretty poor, but
I will say the best actors in this movie are the guy who played William Easton, Peter Outerbridge, whatever his name is, and Tobin Bell. They were really good, and what each actor at least does in regards to line delivery, fucking shit. But in their states of terror, in the traps, and being helpless, they have a good sense of always acting like they are in peril and in pain.
Yeah, they at least know how to act like they're scared.
Yeah, especially the people in the carousel trap.
Oh my God, well, that was a lot of pressure. And
I mean, you have a shotgun fucking in your face.
Yeah. The one guy, like one of the guys in there just like full on snapped, went off on him, started degrading him and things like that. And it's like, oh yeah.
Great, isn't it? Look at me. Just look at me when you're killing me. You look at me. And I'm just like, wow, that is terrible.
Damn.
But you know what? That reaction afterwards, like that line delivery was terrible, but his reaction like that quivering like the afterwards was really brilliant.
Really good. Really good. Like, I was like, okay, that's what we were looking for. It's just that terror, that look of fright, that realization that life's on the line and it's about to end, my friend.
And like that trap's easily my favorite in the movie because it shows the policy. Due to the the dog pit, only 1 in 3 of your applicants and members of your policy, your healthcare company actually get accepted with their healthcare. Only 1/3, so therefore only 1/3 can escape the carousel alive. You've got to choose and follow your rules and see how you're fucking up these people's lives. And it also shows the human will to live by them throwing out lies and insults and exposing each other, not giving a shit, showing not just how terrible these people are, but what they will do to survive.
Yeah, it wasn't only, 2 people that survived that?
Yeah, the woman with, her family who was very, very sick, which goes against William's policy.
Yeah.
Like, her parents are very sick, even though they're trying to cut her off, but also the woman who has the 2 kids, which William Easton never took into account when that guy, he killed him off, when he's got his wife and son still.
Yeah, man. I mean, you brought up a great point. A lot of the people that survive are the people he would actually reject.
That's exactly
it's like,
right.
Okay, it's a lesson to him, like, this is why you can't be denying these people just because they have some kind of, pre-existing condition doesn't mean without your care, they'll be better off. Like,
yeah. And that's why I think he's the best character since Saw 2 from, Matthews, Daniel Matthews, Detective Eric Matthews' son. Like, he was really good in Saw 2. And I haven't seen that actor in anything since. Like, that's really unfortunate because he was really good in Saw 2, the kid. But like, it's the fact that William Easton goes against everything with his policy, which even though he's definitely a villain due to his policy, he's actually the most compelling and really good, protagonist in any of the Saw films since Saw 2. And I actually wanted to see him live because he was learning and actually following the rules.
Yeah, well, it was like his biggest consequence was that he didn't make it out.
This was never his game.
Nope.
Because of his previous actions and the fucked up policy, it was up to the lives of someone else who he had fucked over before to determine whether he lived or died.
And fuck, that ate him up at the end. Like,
literally, like the acid ate him up.
Yeah.
He looked like an unrolled tube of toothpaste.
It was just like the lower half of his body, like literally plops off.
And you see his stomach and his lower intestines and everything spill out with, again, really awesome practical effects.
Yeah, like, come on. This should have been recognized, man. This was look-wise, practical effect-wise, makeup and hair-wise. This was awesome. This was awesome.
It's a really good movie in regards to production design, in regards to the locations, even the cinematography in this movie. One thing I love about this movie, that yes, some Saw movies incorporate, but not as well, whenever it's a flashback, it has this really oversaturated and overexposed look to it, so you can determine what's a flashback and what's not, whether John Kramer is in the flashback or whether he's not.
Yeah, and this one they did it well. They snuck it in good points. It really wasn't jarring or didn't really cut things off. It
actually
was
felt
really
like
well
it fit.
played.
It flowed really well. And, like, there are very few things I can say about Saw 6 that I don't like besides, you know, some acting and some line delivery. Sometimes the pacing, admittedly, does feel a little off. Like, after the, trap where the barbed wire hanging trap is, it kind of just follows on with, like, that police investigation thing with, you know, it just kind of goes away and slows down.
Deep into Hoffman being with the police investigation, and it's just kind of like, okay, get back to the traps. Like, what are we doing here?
Even though I don't like the character of Hoffman at all, I do like Costas Mandylor as Hoffman. He's really, really good in this role. He really is. And, like, one thing I love is that this movie tried to tie up loose ends from all the Saw movies in regards to, like, the contrived plot and, like, incorporating, like, the scene from Saw 3 with, like, the rack trap and how it all came together. What that note was for Amanda Young and everything. Hoffman was the one who wrote that. And I love the fact that this movie ties up all those ends. And then Saw the final chapter fucks it over again.
Oh, man. Saw the final chapter. Why even call it Saw 3D? What the hell?
Because marketing, because Saw 6 didn't do well at the box office. Let's throw that 3D on it. Let's have some crappy 3D. And let's watch it in 3D to get an extra $1 or $2 from admission.
Jeez.
And it's just really insulting to, like, moviegoers. Like, the 3D in that movie is not good. You have some very lazy 3D shots, like in Saw 3D at the very end of the movie, where Hoffman's in the bathroom from the first film, and then, Dr. Gordon picks up the sword and is like, oh, I don't think so, and then throws it at the camera. I'm like,
dude, what the hell?
You just made me flatline while watching this movie from just disbelief.
Mega cringe. I'm good, bro.
Oh, yeah. Saw 3D is a massive cringe movie, especially, like, you know, the public trap at the beginning of Saw 3 with the love triangle. Wait, hold on, what?
Like, the hell, man. The traps weren't even good. The 3D looked cheesy.
The blood?
No.
That's the only Saw film where I'm like, the practical effects are garbage from the weird pink blood.
Yeah, like, what were they thinking with that? Come on.
Same director as Saw 6, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's
Far
the
from
worst Saw
grace.
film. Far from the greatness of 6, because 6 I consider to be a part of the 3 Saw movies that are great. Saw 1, Saw 2, and Saw 6.
Yeah, this 6th one was really good. Took a nice turn from 3 through 5. It has really original traps, and I like the theme of the healthcare and, like, turning that back around on him.
Feels
so
grounded.
Cool. So
feels
cool.
nice and grounded.
Mm-hmm. And these are the feelings I'm getting about Spiral, actually. It feels like a lot more original, fresh. Not to follow along with, like, how 4 through 5 went, or 3 through 5 went, and then how 6 and 7 connect. It feels like its own little series. Yeah, like, people who maybe haven't even seen the other Saw movies can get into this too.
That's exactly right, and that's what I'm thinking as well, that people who haven't even seen Saw, and that's what they're marketing as, that you don't need to see the other Saw movies to watch this movie. That's how they're marketing it. Which, please.
Yes. Please. Spin-off time, baby.
Because it does take place years after the events of, Saw 7, and even Jigsaw, from my knowledge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good.
Because it's a copycat.
Give us some original.
It's a straight-up copycat, and I love in the trailer how it's just not like a, hello, Detective Matthews.
Right.
It's just like, hello, Detective. When was the last time you saw your father? Like, I actually don't mind it. It shows that it is a copycat.
Mm-hmm. Somebody different.
Yeah. And the traps look unique. They look different. How the fuck is Samuel L. Jackson going to survive?
He's not. I'm like, he probably ain't.
That's one thing I noticed rewatching Saw 6. That trap that Samuel L. Jackson is linked up to looks similar to the trap from the boiler room where she's got that device on her.
Yeah.
Those devices on his arms looks very similar. He's just hauled up high and it's attached to each of his limbs.
You know what? I'm wondering if the traps are gonna reference different traps from across.
Well, I mean, Chris Rock's trap in the with the handcuff.
Yeah,
he's gonna have to saw off his own arm. Please.
Oh my god.
I don't see them surviving Samuel L. Jackson or Chris Rock.
No, I think this is gonna be another kill the protagonist too. Like,
but I don't mind that. Like, I actually think it takes balls to kill off the protagonist in a movie. Not in the sense of like your Halloween Resurrection, that can suck my balls, but but like movies like Saw and like What's another one that kills off the protagonist? Deep Blue Sea, like killing off the protagonist in that movie.
Oh
at
my
the
god,
very
Deep Blue
end.
Sea is so ridiculous.
I love Deep Blue Sea. LL Cool J.
Yeah,
Oh man. You killed my bird. Poof.
Poof. It's such good cheese, man.
Oi,
That's
Carter!
the best cheese.
Bring me some sushi! I love Deep Blue Sea, dude. I can pop that movie in anytime, any day, and just have a fun time.
Oh yeah. It's fun, man.
Yeah. But honestly, there isn't much about Saw 6 that I don't like. Like, yeah, the acting every now and again, some of the pacing here and there, but I actually think it's a really underrated, underappreciated, and overlooked Saw film.
Yeah, I didn't like the acting much. Didn't like the line delivery. But I did really like the traps. I liked the theme of this movie. I liked turning it against the antagonist. And
rather it being like Jigsaw's moral, it goes towards the policy of this company.
Yeah,
and it's just
exactly.
like, your company's fucked up. If you want to survive, you have to go against everything you know.
And I like that play on it better because then it just introduces a different plot thread instead of it being about the will to live still and Jigsaw's will. And
even though those aspects are thrown in there, they are sprinkled throughout.
It helps. And it especially helps for it to be a healthcare company that's really fucking shady. Like it helps to incorporate those two together, and it just worked a lot in tandem with the traps and with his slow decline throughout the traps. Like it just really helped. Like it really played out really well. And I was like, dude, I can't believe I am sitting up here really liking Saw 6 because 3 through 5 I was not a fan of.
Yeah, I wasn't, honestly, I've always really enjoyed Saw 6, but I don't remember loving it this much, but it has always interchanged with 2 and 6. But honestly, rewatching it, I'm like, it constantly interchanges with 2 and 6 constantly for a reason. These are 2 really good movies, not quite as good as the first one in my opinion, but really solid. It's the most unique Saw movie since the second.
Yeah, I love how unique it is. I like the different direction. And like you were saying earlier, at least it takes place in a different time from the 3 through 5. Like really 3 and 4 at the same time, or was it 4 or 5 at the same it's like, dude.
Yeah, Saw 3 and 4 the same time, then Saw 5 right after the events. Although
minutes after.
Saw 5 has my favorite psychological trap in the entire series, and that's the cube trap. Agent Strahm was not supposed to survive, then he grabs a pen and gives himself a tracheotomy, and I'm like, that is straight up badass, dude. That is badass.
That takes a lot.
Yeah. Even though I just kind of think that you could have grabbed the tubes up there like you are within arm reach, like you're not shackled or anything. Just bend them so that the water can't make its way through.
Like something.
That's one thing I like to think about with the Saw traps. How would you survive the traps of Saw 6? How do you think people would survive?
I mean, I know with the nail bed at the end, like homie could have just easily sidestepped and it would have just like slammed down in front of him, and it's like, okay, you could have survived that, bro, by just ducking or getting out of the fucking way.
It's almost like a Green Goblin situation from the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. It's just like the whole, oh, look, the glider's coming at you, then it's just the, oh, and then it hits you and kills you. But, like, this is the same situation. Just duck down, man, and then do a combat roll out.
Like, get out of the way. What the fuck?
It's literally the simple rule of stop, drop, and roll.
Yep. So he could have survived that way. The one where he had to decide, it's like, you could have hooked that up to something. One of the 2 of those that were pulling, you could have hooked that to something. It's either that
or we see Billy the puppet get lifted up, and even the guy after he dies gets lifted away. Hello, when his arms get free from their shackles, yell, grab the rope! And then he grabs it, pulls himself up, holds himself up long enough for him to be pulled up, so he doesn't get hung.
They just don't, it's like they don't think about that. Like in the heat of the moment, it's like, I gotta survive. Like I can't think.
I think it does boil down to like the stressful situation. Like one thing I think is funny about Saw 3D is rewatching that movie. I look at the timers on like the clocks that they use, and I'm like, there's literally an off and on switch on these traps.
Get the fuck out of here, for real?
I'll send you a screenshot later, but there's an off and on switch on the timers for these traps. Flick that off. There's no timer. The trap isn't active. Gives you unlimited time to figure it out.
Well, and it also, it's like, okay, well, if they do any of that, they're dead.
Yeah, but like that's never provided in the rules.
That's true. It's like,
how
hey,
you know?
he could have flipped it off, and then Jigsaw would be like,
Flipped
"Oh my
it
god,
off.
you figured it out!"
Flipped it off.
Man.
Straight up flipped it off. Fuck you, Jigsaw. I'm flipping the switch.
And then he's just like, all along, that's all you had to do, but nobody's ever done it, so.
I mean, wah, wah. But like, you know, what would your verdict and grade be for Saw 6?
So for Saw 6, I would give it probably a solid 7 out of 10, man. I had a good time, a C. I had a really good time. I thought it was better than 3 through 5. Not as good as 2 and 1 to me, but I really liked this health insurance policy and what they built up there and actually theming out the traps to that health insurance policy. I really like that a lot. And yeah, like that, I would say 7 out of 10, C. Not as strong as the first 2, but definitely better than the rest of the bunch. So it's like a easy number 3 if I had to rank them all.
Yeah. I'm with ya. Honestly, I love this movie. Like, the acting's poor. I think that it does have some uneven pacing here and there, but everything feels like it needs to be there, and then it flows well enough at least to keep you invested. The whole thing with, like, Hoffman going on a murder spree, I still don't buy to this day. It's kind of just like, nah, you kind of just exposed yourself there, buddy. And, like, all he had to do to, sort of stop them from figuring out who he was. Oh no, I spilled coffee on the wires.
That's literally it.
And then when they're not looking, take the tape and fucking snap it.
No, instead he just straight up killed everybody in the room.
like, yeah, they might suspect him afterwards, but what evidence would they have?
Yo, he used the girl figuring out the sound for like a meat shield. It's just like, what the fuck? You used the smallest girl in the room as your meat shield?
It's like using me. Like, yeah, I'm tall, but I'm skinny as shit. I'm 6'1", but look like Slender Man almost. Using me as a human meat shield, I have no meat on me. The bullet's gonna go right through me and hit you too.
I was like, how is he gonna pick up this small lady? I mean, she's like half of him.
Yeah.
He picks her up and just like...
He's even having trouble. You see him like crouching like this behind her. I half expected him afterwards to do like some Captain America sort of super soldier thing. After the bullets, to pick her up like a fucking battering ram and throw her at Agent Perez. When I first saw the movie, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, because he just had to kill her with that little knife, man. Gotta keep the Jigsaw theme going. Like
again, bad line delivery. Not a bad line, but when she's like, who knows about me? Everyone. No, for Saw 6, I like a majority of the stuff in it. I'm probably going to honestly give it a B. Like, the same grade as I gave Saw 2. I like this movie a little bit less than Saw 1, and Saw 2 and Saw 6 interchange for me. Really good stuff in regards to the traps, the story. It's unique, it's different, it has some pretty good writing and a great story that is very different and unique. And is actually the least gory in the series since 2.
Yeah, it's actually not super, like, blood gushy.
It's actually surprisingly tame after the first, trap in the opening scene.
Yeah, and then we really don't get a ton until the last trap.
So, yeah, I'm going to give it a B. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's really, really fun. I think it's easily one of the best paced, except for a few moments here and there. It's like that middle section after the, the hanging trap that everything kind of...
Yeah, it goes into the box and then into the, like, investigation, and then that weird confrontation where homie uses the girl as a meat shield. Like, it goes into all that, and then back to the traps.
Everything with Hoffman is very weak, but everything else is great. But yeah, Leo, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really had a good time discussing Saw 6 with you. This is absolutely awesome. I'm really glad that you love the movie as much as I do, actually.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for having me on the channel, Patrick. We definitely got to collab again. Much appreciated. And hey, look, I woke up at 4 a.m. to get through Saw 6. I was like, I really want to watch this because I didn't get the chance to watch it last night. But man, now I woke up and I actually used to do that all the time. I used to wake up and just watch old movies, and I was like, dude,
like Bong Joon-ho.
This was great. Yeah,
like Bong Joon-ho does.
5 o'clock a.m. a movie
to watch a movie.
Yep.
Honestly, kudos to him, man. That's what I want to do.
Me too. I was like, I said this the other day on Twitter. I was like, can we just get 2 more hours in the day just for a movie, man? Like 2 more hours.
Yeah. Then I'd finally have time in my day to watch at least one Lord of the Rings movie every day.
Bingo.
There we go. But everyone, make sure as well, I didn't mention this earlier, make sure down in the comment section below you all wish Leo a very happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday. Honestly,
Much
like,
appreciated.
great guy. He deserves everything. Make sure you all wish him the best down in the comment section for his birthday. How old are you now, Leo? 69?
28.
Oh, okay.
69. That's cute.
That's cute. But yeah, everyone wish him a happy birthday. Make sure you go check him out on his socials. Where can they find you, Leo?
Come on over to youtube.com/Geekly Goods here on YouTube, and then you can find me on Twitter at Leo Rydel.
Awesome. Everyone, his stuff is going to be in the description down below to all his socials and everything. Make sure you click them. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow him on Twitter and everything to keep up to date with all this geekly goodness, as well as everything anime related. He's a massive anime fan. If you want to talk anything like Naruto, Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia, make sure you go check him out. I need to get back into My Hero Academia myself. I only ever watched season 1. I need to get back into it. But guys, make sure you go check him out, especially if you love anime.
Guys, thank you so much. Yep. Anime, comic books, manga, movies especially. Come check me out.
Give us that Alita sequel.
Oh my god, please. Alita 2, baby, yes!
I love the Alita mangas, and I even like the 96 film.
Yeah?
The anime film. I love
the
that
OVA
movie.
is so good.
The OVA is so good, man. So fucking good. Better modable sequences in that than it was in the actual live-action movie. Yeah,
hard to do in in a live action. It's so
yeah.
hard to mimic.
They still did pretty good for what they had, but it was a little, yeah.
Little
But either
mucky.
way, really enjoyed it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us for our review of Saw 6. Make sure you check out the channel next week and tune in for my review of Saw 3D, the final chapter, where I'll be joined by Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror. Make sure you guys check that out next week. Super excited to bring that one to you guys. Also, my review of Jigsaw coming the week after, the same week as Spiral, with Ryan O'Toole. Can't wait to bring those ones to you guys. Look out for further reviews coming very soon for movies such as Wrath of Man, as well as Those Who Wish Me Dead, and more movies, more and more goodness. Fatale is everything as well. Make sure you guys check me out on the social medias at Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Twitch to watch my live streams and keep up to date with your content coming to the channel. Do be sure to click the subscribe button and the bell to get notified when your videos are up every single week. Do be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.